Hi Pisces, we are here to do your zodiac sign / astrology / psychic read for April. Now, those of you who are new, a very warm welcome. I'm a psychic medium. We're entering into some very interesting times, and a lot of us probably aren't really looking at love. And it's not that we shouldn't be, because obviously with the aspects, well, I shouldn't say obviously, some of you guys don't know, Juno currently is in retrograde. Now in April, there are going to be a lot of aspects which already, when I'm recording it, it's the first day of the month, so rabbit, let's move into the month. Now, the energies coming through with Mercury and Aries, as I mentioned, the last 3 days there's been a lot of squaring aspects. It's a caution-orientated month with the notion of new beginnings, plus the notion of, preparing ourselves, assessing what's going on. Aquarius is retrograde this month. Pluto's going retrograde as well. And it's all this out with the old, in with the new energy. Now, collectively speaking, many of us are trying to decipher, both astrologically and spiritually and at a 3D level, what this means for all of us collectively. Now, any hunches when it does come to your employment, when it does come to your psychology during this time, because your house is the energy, theoretically, at a collective level of the 12th house. So your mind really energetically is going to be crucial, especially with Saturn in Aquarius. It is linked to it. So if at a psychological level you have a wiring or belief system that you're unable to achieve, it will more be from a psychological point of view, because the 12th house is the end of the zodiac, but it's also the frequency of with the wider group. So it's, globally speaking, this could be of concerns to you. Where do you fit into the world? This can be at a spiritual level as well. Capricorn, when it's retrograding, is going to be falling into your 11th house. Now, with your 11th house, let's talk about some of the interesting aspects. Sorry. Are we all here? Are we all present? I've lost my paperwork. That'll be right. 5 minutes. Got to get the dates right. You'd think it was Mercury retrograde, but it's not. Okay, so we are going to be having Mercury in Aries. So again, it's the planet of the war. Hi, Valerie. It's the planet of war energy, but it's Mars energy. And with Mars aspects, there is caution when it does come to health. Your day-to-day movement. And I'd say the hot spot for the energy is more to do with April and May. And I have said this for a while. I'm seeing more energetically as May moves through. We're having the nodal shift. You're going to find at a frequency level, with the closing out of the last karmic cycle with Cancer and Capricorn for your zodiac sign, Pisces, it's going to balance things out. There's that karmic kind of frequency moving. Let's see what else you got coming through. So Pluto is going to be going retrograde on the 25th. Now, you're still going to have the shadow energy of Venus going retrograde. Venus as well, we do have Juno in Libra. And again, I'm going to check, and I just want to bounce off these things briefly. Then we'll get into the energy of the read, because I pulled the cards ahead of time, and I'll start tuning in psychically. Let me see. Bear with me, because like I said, I was running late, and I'm like, we really need to get these videos done for you guys, peeps. Now, your second house of your assets has been highlighted. Now, with your asset domain, it could be a time at the moment that, try not to hold on to things. If things are needing to be removed, or if you're selling things, or if you're looking at things and the value system, I'm tuning into the energy of 5, because I'm seeing 5 on a cardboard box now, and it's like, yeah, that's relevant. What you don't need, it's more a spiritual transformation. So if you have lots of things around you and you're suddenly looking at them and you're feeling that there's too much around you, too many, how do I put it, like hoarding energy, but then all of a sudden spiritually you don't feel directly connected to it. It can be a tool, and you potentially at a later date will be actually selling them. Also with Chiron and Aries for you guys, this does fall, and this has been activated since last month. So what has been happening at the new moon of Aries A lot of people all of a sudden were looking at this new beginning we were moving into, looking at the pandemic energy, and then wondering how on earth that was going to work. How is our work directly relating to it? For the next 2.5 years when the nodes do move, it is very technology based, and I will be covering the astrology linking into each country so that wherever you're living, you can also look at your energetic charts plus my psychic interpretation, but you can also look at what's going on at an economic level within the astrology of each country, which is unique because I've looked at Australia and that's pretty unique, but we'll get to that later. So with you guys, I'm seeing a lot of technology, and this is a time, especially with Saturn retrograde, not so much that you can't move forward, but it's fine-tuning and looking at what you can control. So if you're seeing flaws in your employment and doesn't resonate with you anymore, yes, there will be movement. Yes, there will be return. It's going to be different, but the trend at a spiritual level, what it's going to be for you, is going to be very, very unique. Let's look further. Now, the second house is going to be the only energy that will trigger you. In a sense, at a spiritual level, if you have had people take from you your assets and the work and, had an inability to network, and there's been hindrance in your career sector due to that, for the next 8 years, Aries in Chiron is going to be in your second house. So if you get triggers pertaining to professional energies, when it does come to your land, your material value, your resources, the people that are working with you, all of those things that are highlighted, it's more a past tense energy that's triggering your movement forward. So it's not to say you're not having them. It's what is your value system connected to that in the initial stage. So there's a spiritual lesson there for you. Let's look at Pluto. Pluto falling in your 11th house is going to be, again, potentially for some of you, there might have been this frequency where certain groups had betrayed you in the past. But I'm seeing more the bigger picture. You're looking at the financial sector. You're looking at what's happening in the global economy. And the 11th house is, okay, what is the long-lasting energy of this? What is going to be, how am I going to potential? But it's going to be a blessing. A lot of us at the moment aren't seeing the blessings in the astrology because it is looking really, okay, what's happening. But any cycle we're starting that's really, really energetically brand new, it's always heavy moving into it. And it's a bit like ants scurrying around in a nest to try and get the new pieces that are supposed to be there in a proper place. Now, certain things, I do feel your hopes and dreams are going to change. It is the humanitarian energy. So the bigger picture of things is how you're going to mix with people, how you're going to network within your employment. And again, I have pulled cards for that. At the moment, there's a pause with the star. So you've got the star in reverse, and you're wondering how anything is going to get back, what these hopes and dreams are. And again, for you guys, I really do feel that at a spiritual level, you're looking at life collectively like it's all changed somehow, and it's changed you. You may also be finding that some of these dreams that you initially had, you could, during the Saturn-Pluto retrograde, be looking at them and going, is this in alignment with what this new world is now? Is it in track and in alignment with what you now, what are your new findings? And you'll always have a lot of findings during Saturn and Pluto. There'll be a lot of fine-tuning, especially if you're working in business, if you're working for yourself, or you have been on the fence with jobs. This is a time, this is a time when you're researching it. So the star reversed, it's more an egoic belief. And again, with the 12th house that have been activated in February and March, it's very hard for people to make solid, cemented decisions. With communication especially, there was Mercury retrograde in Pisces, so for you guys, it would have been a bit of confusion where potentially you might have been handling it, but then even if you were the type of person that was able to articulate what you were feeling, the crosswise with the energy with the Aries frequency was really making that very, very difficult for people to be on the same page. With Saturn and Aquarius for the next 4 months, what you'll find is the wider group energy is coming through. So you'll be able to relate and see. You'll be able to see the cracks and the flaws in the system. And the communication energy, as per se, is going to be more open. So there could be also things coming up in the news. There could be, again, with Mars energy, there can also be fall downs of situations, because you do find with Pluto going retrograde, it's a cycle that needs to end, or a cycle that, you know, potentially is very broken, that's not working. Those situations are going to be really showing, and the rebuild of that energy. With the rebuild of it, it's what it's going to look like at a different level, but something that's working. So I have noticed in Australia, especially since we have the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn. Capricorn energy is large bodies, government systems, etc. Large companies that have been extremely iconic, you know, some of which have really, you know, and this was really before we were really noting pandemic energy. They're century-old, you know, companies, and they've gone by the wayside now, but it's more these new cycles that are coming in. So it's almost like we're physically watching history in the making, but it's what are these new things coming through? And this is this innovation energy with the nodes changing in May. We're already seeing those themes come through, with Saturn and Pluto going to be retrograde, joining each other. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because the Mercury energy is Gemini. So it's technology, it can be communication, the day-to-day movements, things to that degree. For you guys, that's going to be in your 4th house. So you will be looking at your home and thinking, and you'll notice these things now. So pay attention to what Saturn and Pluto are doing in the next 2 months, moving into May, and these are going to be the themes for 2021. So if you're finding that your new understanding and, you know, your physical foundation, Gemini in the 4th house can be difficult, but it's really getting it to the point where, you know, getting up to date with these changes, potentially looking at the aspect of the way you're going to commute. Some people may have excess vehicles and they're looking at it and going, okay, do I need this vehicle? Some of us may be using public transport, and now potentially there could be quality systems in place. It's an example, but with the Gemini energy in your 4th house, it's your psychology currently in your being is incredibly important. Your spiritual mindset, your meditation, having balance in life is going to be incredibly important. It also links into domestic related dynamics. And again, with the 2nd house, it can be no sooner do you buy white goods, you're needing to replace them. But it's more, it can be more so paranoia, but it's also buying quality over quantity. You know, having things that are going to last a long time. So there's a lack of wastage there. And plastics directly does connect in with Pluto as well. Now, with the 4th house, it is your psychology. It's the way in which the foundation of what your life is sitting on is affected. So this can be your home, relationships, employment, mindset, adversity. All of those things can impact it. Domestic. So, you know, the way your life was regimented. Was it eat, pray, repeat? Was it extremely strenuous and busy? Were you doing too many things? Is there a fine-tuning? Now, endings as well. Spiritually speaking, you know, it depends on the age bracket we are. We all look at endings in a different way. Many people who have gone through awakenings and adversity, you know, you tend to have the most resilient souls. During those times, though, it's not to say that you don't, like any other humanistic experience, you know, have your temper tantrums, so to speak, because we are very human. But your ego is directly humbled during it, and it gets down to real basics. And this is really what collectively is going on. Now, these endings, it's almost, you're going to have a lot of chops and changes, especially moving into 2021, but it's going to be shown this year. So what these new changes are: innovation, technology, quality systems, all of these things are coming through in your zodiac sign. I'm also seeing home-related dynamics, where if you're running a business from home, how is that going to work? You know, what are you going to need to move around for that to be working? And again, new belief systems in your 10th house from the nodes shift. Your career sector is going to be highlighted. So again, the only thing that will hold you in your way is your belief system. Some of us, it may be age. Some of us, it might be skill set. Again, it is a belief system, and becoming creative, really balancing the lower chakras so they can help you actually retrieve those ideas. And 9 times out of 10, you find when problems arise is when the direct solutions come through. So I know for me, when I was nursing, you know, anytime I'd be with a new employer, I would at first be in the learning student zone. And of course, you know, the more experience you have, outside eyes coming in within days, especially if you, no matter what experience you have in your life, you can apply it to any job. This is what, you know, many don't understand. When you come into it then, you know, fresh eyes looking at an old situation from a different viewpoint, you will find creative solutions. And this is what this time at the moment is gifting you with. Now you have green tourmaline as your crowning energy, connecting in with the star reversed. This is a mindset thing. Remember, I said 12th house. Abundance and prosperity are an infinite supply. I am grateful for the blessings in my life. Now, it's a belief system. So it's very Abraham Hicks energy. And look, even aside from all the fluff and glory of what we preach in the spiritual community, the reality is we all have a circle of concern. We all have power. And when there's a problem, it's a bit like, oh, you know, somebody falls pregnant and they're saying, oh my gosh, I'm really not ready for that. How am I going to do this at a financial level? Well, what then happens is you have no choice because it's moving forward. So you do find a creative way in which you can actually manage that situation. You know, when we're spiritually blocked, it's an egoic purge. That's a reality. When we pause and we try and get back to the circle of concern, envisioning, getting a piece of chalk, drawing it around in a circle, and then getting grounded. That is what you can control, is you and the way you apply yourself to the different weather forecasts of astrology and the environments we're enduring. Very much like the song We Didn't Start the Fight. It's been there. It's always been there. But we were in the rat race of society. Now things are changing. We are needing to change with the times and change our approach in which we're doing things. So this is a time to meditate upon that. So some of these dreams are going to change. Now you got the Eight of Swords in reverse. Past tense energy was, you know, maybe you energetically are being shown things now at a heavier level that were out of alignment. And that is very much due to February, March with Pisces energy that was coming through. We had Mercury in Pisces. We had a lot of aspects with Pisces and Aries frequency coming through. So that is what we were fighting for. A bit like when you get the flu, which is a bit of a taboo topic right now. You know, you need the essentials only. It gets down to extreme bare basics. At that time, it was, I'll continue on till I can. And it was, you know, it won't be forever. I'll just keep doing these things, even though it doesn't resonate with me any longer. I feel this is why it's coming up and you're looking at it from a different perspective now. And it's fine-tuning it down to a very small list that you directly know now what you're going to put your energy into. There is the purge of the ego with it, but you must be extremely mindful with the 12th house. 12th houses, you could be worried about too many people as well. You could be, please do not interrupt me. Pandemics and physical foundation, I'm telling you. Be home, homeschooling and teenagers. So past tense energy is really looking at, okay, now what does and what doesn't work. And I feel you guys are coming to a place. This is a karmic cycle, okay? So this is an energy with the super full moon in Libra. It's looking at these balances now. What are these new balances going to be? And again, with the energy of Libra, it's your 8th house. Now, 8th house for you guys is, again, how can you be non-codependent on situations and how can you have that ability to rebuild, which does link into Mars and Pluto. So with ways these cycles are being dealt with, it's requiring you to be very, very creative. God help me. I got the cat, I got the teen. Calm mental chatter and to clear confusion. Exactly. 12th house. So you have blue tiger eye. It's easy for me to see beyond the obvious. I am focused on my own scarred path. I just said it to you. Get the chalk, draw it around you mentally. That's what you can control. The weather's changing constantly. It's a bit like saying, okay, so I'm going to work. You know, I work from home, so mine's different. But, you know, I'm going to work, and then the tire pops. Okay, I'm going to work. It's just going to take a little bit longer than I thought, but I've got to be creative now. This can spiritually protect you. You know, tourmaline can, your mindset, really using amethyst, drinking fluid, especially during this time, because it's going to clear toxins. It's also from a spiritual perspective, because you are 12th house in general in the wheel. Having that water to actually have that clear mind. Mentally speaking, you're alchemizing and detaching from the pain body experience, the ego of the past. You've got Chiron in your second house. Don't get attached to physical things, because they are replaceable. You are not. Get real with what's energetically necessary. You know, be very practical, but don't be, you know, with abundance mindset. What you need to spend, you need to spend. That's a reality. But if you're fixated too tightly on it, you actually remove the ability to have the chi energy come to you. So if you're needing to spend money and it's necessary, you need to spend it. Try not to get too much in paranoia, because yes, this year we have a lot of Jupiter aspects, which does mean mass potential for growth. Right now, obviously, it's more an assessment time. So although some will be losing an energetic kind of financial level, you will find a lot of communities where government systems are coming through. You'll find through their astrology, it will be handed down to you in some shape or form. And it's really creating us to be extremely resourceful with the energy of the rat, because this is the year of the rat, and it's almost like scavenging energy, but it's also the most creative time. When I lived on a farm in Europe, you know, children were making their own toys out of junk. It was the recycle, the upcycle. And this is really, when it comes down to it, if you're being creative with your resources, if you're needing to spend, you need to spend, because that can directly block the chi energy from abundance. But it's also being creative with the resources that you directly have in front of you. And I'm seeing that really coming through. Hone in. You know, yes, in a fantasy sense, in a beautiful land and the things you're looking at, there may be many ideas coming through in your mind, but you need to start jotting it down. You need to write the things down, write your creative energies down. If you've got things to achieve, when the nodes move to Gemini in May, it will be extremely important to self-manage, because it's Mercury energy. It's overload of information. Your 12th house requires you to take daily energy to disconnect from what's going on in the collective and check with what's going on with you. That's what you can control. It's nursing and caring for thyself at a psychological level. Also from a spiritual level, you don't want that bombarded into your head. It is responsible to check, but it's also irrational for it to be every 2.5 seconds. It's going to be to the detriment to your health. So these ideas you got coming through, it's really alchemizing it. It's using this time, if you are homebound, to start getting things in order, move back to your creative sense, jot down notes, look at ways that you can achieve some of these targets. Because I feel, okay. You know you're going to have courage to move forward. You're going to have to. But I'm saying with the new moon in Taurus, which we're going to have around the 23rd of April, it's going to be at 3 degrees. That, in a sense, falls in your 3rd house. So again, it's very Mercury energy. Be mindful of that. Also be very mindful of any aspects that are made to your 3rd house. Let's have a look. Okay. During the year, keep an eye on whenever the Uranian energy is making an aspect to the 3rd house, especially in your chart. I'll keep you tuned. I will be doing some more updates later. But at the same time, you need to be mindful of that because it is throat chakra. It's connected to health. Where's your health cards? Let me have a look where your health is. Okay, what do you have? Yeah, just get things done at home. That, preparing your home, getting things in order, getting your paperwork done. And then when we are ready to move forward, all this backlog of work that we're going to be jumping into, you're going to be prepared for it. But get things done at home. Try and spend the time there and get your quality systems done, because your outcome is connections and family and people around you are going to help you. There's support there. There is support. Let's get back to the read anyway. Now, your finances. 12th house, you need to think clearly. You need to be thinking sharp and clearly about what you're going to do. Some of you may actually be holding on to something that is quite broken. There could also be, look, the things you do in work and in finances, and it's unique because it's in the changed energy. How do I explain this? The new way things are going to be is going to be completely different. So if you're really struggling with that, and you're hoping that everything's going to go back to X, Y, and Z, it is going to go back. But the thing is, it's going to be completely different. The only thing is, at a psychological level, some of you may be thinking it's just going to go back to square one, and everything's fine. Don't stress. In your work zone, if you find at a spiritual level there's something that just isn't working, and you're in awareness of this, and you think that industry is going to go by the wayside, you need to actually meditate upon that. And this could be at a spiritual level. This could be an industry that completely goes out the door, but pay attention to those signs and synchronicities. Whatever is coming, I'm not seeing no work, but I am seeing there are certain trends and certain jobs that's in. The way they're going to be dealing with it is going to be completely different. For those of you, for instance, that work in the food industry, this is just an example. Yes, there will be different rule sets. There will be quality systems. In technology, yes, there will be different quality systems, and that's really amping up over the next 2.5 years. Again, it will depend on the industry you're working in, but there appears to be a sense of change, but you need to meditate upon this and decide what you're going to do. Now, obviously, if there is lockdown energy, it prevents you from moving forward. It could be tuning into courses. It could be tuning into upgrading skills. It could be looking at natural ways you can be doing things. Again, it will very much depend on what industry you're in and how you're directly approaching this. But spiritually speaking, again, the only thing that will block you will be your mindset and your inability to potentially evolve through these changes. That will be the only thing hindering you with the 12th house. Okay, so this is change. This is a lot of change. Improve spiritual communication skills, interpret signs and symbols. Experience connection with angels and spiritual guides, feel serenity and calmness. It's more the trigger, and that's what I was saying, it's more the trigger than the actual reality. I hear, I see, notice and understand messages from the divine. And that is in relation to the acceptance of the transformation that's happening in finances and career. Don't hold on to things that don't serve you. So if, for instance, you really hate the job and all of a sudden you are home, now tap into that and think to yourself, well, is it worth running back to a same frequency, or is it worth running towards those dreams? And what are we going to do about it? That's really the anchor here. Now, your tribe and the people around you. There could be a bit of ups and downs energy with it. This can even be where there could be push and pull, people wanting on your time, people, there's a jealousy. There's a jealousy in this connection. There is somebody in the family that has the evil eye on you, or they want more of your attention, and that's more what I'm feeling. And obviously with what's going on, it is making it hard for that to occur. I do feel many of you have too much on your plate, that even it's still really where we're trying to get into the anchored energy to have time. But obviously, looking at things that are going on around us, if we have too much playing in our mind's eye, which is 12th house, and you're caring for too many individuals, might be via telephone, might be via concern or meditating upon things. My life glides forward with ease. I am mindful. I think and act with positive energy. And it's a bit like a vampire attack. It's like people be, you should do this, you should do that energy. They do admire you. There are people around you that admire you, but especially in your tribe and your family, it could even be a tribe orientation can be employment too. People looking at you and thinking, gosh, you're ahead of your game. You're ahead of the way you see things. And there is this jealousy coming through with that. Now, in a communication sense, there is some information coming in very quickly pertaining to family. Again, keep positive, because this is what they're saying, is keep positive with this and follow your instincts. It feels like full card. Ultimate possibilities. Relax into the flow of a happy life. What goes around comes around, attracts goodness and love. So even if this person's being shady to you, there seems like a bit of karma around them, but it is going to balance out. It's. I feel your heart chakra energy, moving towards being compassionate and understanding. This could also be a parent figure that maybe hasn't been so nice to you in your life, for some of you, especially connected to family and tribe. But whoever this person is, with the yellow energy, we're really guided to get, the sunlight at the moment for our health benefits, really eating yellow food groups and having that energy where we're keeping our chakra system healthy to actually support our immunity. Now, this depletion of your energy will only come about due to the busy frequency or the psychology frequency. And again, with your health, all these delays, it's like try and create this sanctuary. Try and look at the things that yes. I'm telling you, some people, family will be there for you. So, there is a lot. I feel there's more, you got to have patience when it comes to family. You're going to have patience with group orientation energy. Yeah, there could be a distance between you guys, and that could be causing, if you're away from a love interest, I do feel this is taxing, but it's temporary. Yes, there are delays, but it is coming. And I feel regardless, communication with the blue energy coming through. But when it does connect in with your direct environment, wherever you are, there is something you're wanting to achieve. There's something you want to do. When it does connect in with your direct environment, wherever you are, there is something you're wanting to achieve. There's something you want to do. It's limiting you at the moment, but you're prepared for the delay. So you're open to that frequency, but at the same time, it can be really frustrating you right now because you have some plans that you want to get a giddy up on. Crowding energy, sadness or depression or up in your head again, in your romance house. Now, this can be whether you're coupled, single, or, in general with that area. Now, in the last few months, yes, energetically, there was a lot of lack of harmony. There was a lot of confusions with communication, the way people were talking with each other. We're moving into the shadow energy of April, with Venus frequency. And it is going to be in Gemini, which Gemini for you guys will fall in your, I did tell you this, 4th house. So, again, due to being home, this could be affecting you. All of a sudden, you guys will fall in your, I did tell you this, 4th house. So, again, due to being home, this could be affecting you. All of a sudden, you're in lockdown. This is just an example. I'm not saying you are. And, this takes you away, especially in your health zone. You got, that as your clarifier, your love interest. So some of you may not be exactly having the things that you want to do or being able to, but this is to balance things out. Now, at the heart of it, you guys are deeply, deeply traditional. But doing things the traditional way at the moment can for many of us be impossible. There is deep commitment here. Deep commitment here. Deep commitment in a sense that, it feels time is of the essence. This could be keeping you up at night. But at the same time, I am feeling this is balancing. It is a time for balance. Thanks, Dale. It's a time for balance. It's a time for the rebuild. Patience is required. Pull some clarifiers. Okay, anything, you got Garnet, and Garnet is really quite a loyal energy. It's very noble, and it's funny because it's very traditional, very, very traditional. You got Garnet. With you guys up in your head, hi Giggle, with this 12th house energy, the crowning energy of love. Remember the chalk. Stay in your lane. Don't get up in your head. It's going to be okay. This could be misunderstandings, miscommunication, lack of communication, very separate. It could be what's going on in the collective. However it lands, stop procrastinating. Increase self-motivation. Got my words tongue-tied. Maintain focus, determination, and success. Stay grounded and focused. Walk the path to creative success. Like I said, you guys are traditional at the heart, but this is a non-traditional time, so you're going to be doing relationships a little bit different at the moment. I stay focused on the task at hand and accomplish my goals with creativity and determination. I'd say be careful too, because this is really a year of fertility. Be careful, especially with the energy of Pluto. Now, the foundation, at the moment, you've got a lot of burdens going on. This is a wake-up call. There's some things shifting. This is a heavy cross to bear. Oh, thanks, Valerie. Most appreciated. Have faith, because you can handle this. Whatever you guys have going on, you're more capable than you realise. There's scenarios that you're dealing, and this could even be advice. For those of you that are in a partnership, it may be that your partner's really looking to you, and this could even be a romantic interest that isn't near you, but you're communicating with each other. There seems to be sort of like this energy where you're both looking at each other and, it's like seeking shelter, even if you're not together. It's this psychological kind of, what would the word be? Are we going to be okay? Sort of, are we going to be okay? Assurance energy. But there are some tasks that you're able to achieve, and I do to find out, how to deal with what's going on. So I do feel some of you are going to be getting phone calls that are single. Okay, this has been coming through a lot on the cards. Now, whenever I'm seeing the Six of Wands, I'm being drawn to the, I've forgotten the name of it now. The emblem, and I'm very much, the grief. There you go, the grief. The grief, which links in with Christmas in July. Don't ask me. That's the way my gods communicate with me. Now, it does make an Aries as the beginning of the astrological calendar year. Now, anytime we do move into a year, theoretically, we ease into it a bit like learning how to walk, between 4 to 8 weeks. Once the nodes shift, and we already are experiencing the energy of the nodes, because Gemini is now making quite a bit of aspects. We're going to have Venus in Gemini, which really, when you do look at the energy of Venus, it's all our connections. It's marriages, contracts, partnerships in any shape or form. Hi, Luciana. It's this deep assessment. Now, I'm seeing that everything you're working on now, you're going to have success. But I do feel in your romantic life, if there are delays, it's because the things that you're having to focus on right now is for the bigger picture. So it's not a punishment. It feels like a punishment. It feels it's never going to be. It is. This prep work we're doing, even if we're in hermit mode, it's prep mental work for things. It's to get you ready for what you're about to achieve. So this separation energy that everyone's bloody feeling, be it you're in a relationship or you're not, you've got to get yourself in check, to get these things done, because there's big changes coming. And this is where, by the time, and this week, I told you, July, the eclipses in Cancer and Capricorn are coming after the nodes shifting. And this is where major spiritual transformations are going to come. And at a financial level, I feel you'll be quite balanced. And I do feel, I don't know why, Pisces, I feel it's on you. Now, your mind could be on, in general, the collective energy of people being foolish and not seeing the writing on the wall. This could be a love interest that you're connected to that maybe isn't as spiritually like-minded as you. And it's like, hello, we have an issue here. It sort of feels like you're going to be the level-headed one. But again, check that 12th house. You keep an eye on that 12th house, guys. Yeah, this is the bigger picture. This is not this individual. The individual in the past might have been to that degree in that mindset, but they're coming through more so very driven. Some of you could be very much, and the driven energy almost feels like Mars and Aries. So it could be an Aries energy that you're dealing with. For some of you, I'm not saying it is. It was just feeling that it had that demeanor. It's very ambitious orientated. Some of you may actually have, all of what you're dealing with is removing toxic energy. It's removing the toxic energy. It's fine-tuning life. It's from allowing this karmic cycle to end, whatever the karmic cycle be. This could be a person, place, or thing. Allowing this karmic cycle to end, whatever the karmic cycle be. This could be a person, place, or thing. There are situations that are getting tied up. If we feel energetically we're being put in the naughty corner, it's not to punish us. It's to remove the debris, very Pluto, to make way for this new. Now, let's tune into what the new is. What does Pisces need to know? What does Pisces need to know? And I think I've got one more Zodiac sign. Okay, whatever needs to go, let it go. Let it go. If you've got triggers coming up, let it go. If you're dealing with mental, blockages, let it go. Look at it, deal with it, do the work. I'm seeing a lot of clearing out. I'm seeing fine-tuning. I'm seeing delay, but not a long time. But spiritually, what needs to be let go of, you need to let go of it. Make the shift of whatever you feel you need to do, make the call. If you're unhappy, make the call. That's why I feel the energy is really in your ball court. What you want to let go of, I'm feeling more is the energy of the memory, because we did have the new moon in Aries, and you do tend to get, 2 to 3 weeks of energy coming through where you'll be meditating upon that energy. You'll be meditating upon things from the wounds, because Aries and Chiron, people might have taken your assets in the past. You might have felt like a bank for people. Yeah, it might have hindered your ability to have your foundation and have a home, have the things that you'd wanted to achieve, whatever that be. Past tense energy of wounds connecting in with employment, your social contacts, your ability to have those things personally, whatever that is, it's needing to let it go and understand that this is a new cycle. You might not see it, but you need to feel it first. Yes, you have had to be quite self-reliant. Okay, this could be your partner or past energy. I'm going to pull a chakra card. Now, you might have had a parent that was present, wasn't present, or had very high expectations of you. And I feel this romantic interest has that energy too. Potentially, it's not necessarily that they do. It may be that you just feel that's how they do. Due to the fact that maybe they exhibit energy similar to a person you knew before. But this is high standards. This is you guys being quite strict with yourself, or yeah, you could even be very strict with this individual so that they go through their aspect of their awakening. They see things in their own very unique perspective. So you're pausing, but this is a physical sacrifice. Allowing these changes to occur and assessing it. I do feel this is a huge time at the moment that in romantic connections in our career, we are very, very deeply in assessment. And it does make sense because Juno in Libra is retrograde. That is your 8th house, which again, it's okay. Can this relationship hold the test of time? Are you codependent? That's really coming up with very much with the energy of Pluto. And that house is having a healthy codependency. It can be insurances, it can be things to that degree, it can be whatever it be for you personally. Okay? Any questions? I'm not feeling negatively. I feel regardless, you're not giving anyone a choice. It's some of the things directly out of your control, but more so I feel you are in an assessment time of wondering whether you wish to proceed with things. But it feels more you're going to take the bull by the horns. These energies are going to start flowing again. I'm definitely saying for those of you not in communication, there's going to be communication. Those of you in a relationship, the person could be working quite a bit or working away or away for some reason. I just keep feeling the away. And this can even be away with the fairies. Any questions? Any questions in the house, or has the chat bloody stopped again? So my crew that is usually here knows that if I ever cool. I don't feel negatively towards the connection. I'll say that. I do feel it's like universe is asking you what you want, but you can handle more than you know. It really sucks. I mean, it really sucks, but your energy was made for this, if that makes sense. I don't know why they're saying that. You underestimate yourself. It won't necessarily need to be work. It's vibration. It's vibration energy. It's like you can handle the truth. You can handle adversity. We'd rather not, quite frankly. But you have that. You have that innate ability to. But I do feel any challenges. I do feel there's an ability to work through these things. I do feel somebody's going to ask for advice. There is nurturing coming up. There is direct movement. There's definitely a transformation in this, and it's quite soon. I'd say 2-3 weeks. It's probably already started. It's in the ethers, so to speak. Yes, you are a strong woman. But your creativity is really going to serve you. But I do feel they really, really do highly regard this love interest. Really does have a deep regard for you guys. 10th house. Now, whatever you guys are doing in your career, I do feel it potentially will be gearing up towards home-driven businesses. Not necessarily that the entire situation is at home. I don't feel so. but like having like your home will be the only thing that disrupts you, if that makes sense. I don't know why that's coming through. Probably because of the 4th house with Gemini. No more questions? Feel free to comment and ask away after. I'm going to work out the last video. I think it's Virgo. I'm not sure. I have to make complete sure which one it is. And then I will come back. Take very good care. And again, if you do want a private booking and you want me to tune into both you and your love interest, the zodiac sign, the energies that come through, I've still left the specials there till everything moves, and I'm predicting probably around, I'd say May. You're going to see a direct change at the end of May. And then we're going to have eclipses in Sagittarius, Cancer at the critical degree, big changes, and then July. Yeah, definitely still keep making sure that you guys are getting a bit of sunlight though, because it's going to balance the solar plexus, you know, movement, tune into music that takes you, you know, to a healthy level. Keep your ideas down on paper, but act upon them. Act upon them where you can. And don't get hindered if you're not directly seeing progress, because with the Jupiter energy, there will be. Okay, done. Lots of love, everyone. Take very good care, and I will be back shortly. I'll have a little mini break, and I'll come back and do the last video, and then the next will be Twin Flame, and I'll put the time frame of when I'm going to do it. But I want to have the, you know, morning, so to speak, to actually do those for you. And I'll do the tuning for that. Love and light.